practice. You just turned over the records. Did you appeal the order?
No, Senator. We
Did you call the senators?
No, Senator.
Did you file a motion to quash?
No, Senator. We followed.
You just accepted. You just took the information that Jack Smith and Judge Boasberg gave you and sucked it up like a Hoover Deluxe, didn't you?
Senator, we followed the law and
No, you didn't.
produced the records.
Counselor, you ought to hide your head in a bag.
Welcome back to Freedom Forge, where truth is forged in fire and facts still matter. If you believe in accountability, transparency, and leaders who actually answer to the people, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe right now, because what we're about to break down is something the mainstream media would rather you not pay attention to. Today, we're looking at a heated Senate hearing involving a major telecom company and serious questions about government overreach, corporate responsibility, and whether powerful institutions are playing by the rules or bending them behind closed doors. At the center of it is a tense exchange where a U.S. senator grills a corporate executive over subpoenas, privacy concerns, and past legal violations.
Senator Kennedy, you're recognized.
Mr. Miller, you're the general counsel of Verizon, is that right?
Of our consumer group, Senator.
Who is your CEO?
Dan Schulman is the CEO.
Could you get
of
close
Verizon.
to the mic, please?
Dan Schulman is
Why
the CEO.
isn't he
of
here
Verizon.
today?
Senator, I understood that you wanted a legal department representative here.
No, we invited him. Why didn't he come?
Senator, that was my understanding is that you were looking for legal department testimony.
Well, does he know you're here?
Yes, Senator.
Huh. Is he too tired? I mean, is he too busy to come?
Absolutely not. Mr. Schulman is very focused on finding the right solutions for the
Yeah,
committee.
I
and
can tell.
We've been talking about.
Does he not respect the United States Senate?
He absolutely respects the United States Senate.
Maybe he's tired. Could he be tired? I looked up his salary last year. He made $71 million. Maybe he's been up all night counting his money and he's tired. Could that be it?
No, Senator. Mr. Schulman has only recently been appointed the CEO of Verizon.
Were you general counsel when Verizon had to pay $93.5 million because it cheated the taxpayers of this country by overcharging on invoices to the GSA?
Senator, can you say a little bit more? I'm not.
You don't remember that?
I'm not familiar. I'm sure
Oh,
you're
okay.
familiar with what you're talking about.
Were you CEO when the FCC fined Verizon $46.9 billion because you shared location data of your customers with third parties?
I am not now and have never been the CEO of Verizon, but I'm
I
familiar.
mean, were you general counsel?
I was not in my current role, but I'm familiar with the matter you're talking about.
Yeah. Were you general counsel of Verizon when Verizon had to pay $30 million in ERISA litigation for cheating their own employees?
Senator, I have some familiarity with that matter. I was not in my current role.
Thought you might. Were you general counsel of Verizon when you guys and gals implemented racial quotas in hiring?
Senator, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about.
Yes,
I do disagree with
yes,
the
you do.
suggestion that.
Yes, you do. You know perfectly well what I'm talking about, counsel. Were you general counsel of Verizon when Verizon implemented quotas in hiring based on gender?
Senator, I'm not aware of Verizon ever implementing
Sure
quotas
you are.
in hiring.
That's
based on
illegal,
gender.
isn't it? You know it's illegal, don't you?
I understand it's illegal, Senator, and I'm not aware of Verizon ever having done that.
Yeah. Well, you took con law?
I did, Senator.
Okay. Were you in the Frisbee or in the quad playing Frisbee during the part about you can't discriminate against people on the basis of race and gender?
Senator, I'm well aware you cannot discriminate on the basis of race or
Okay.
gender.
Were you
To my
general-
knowledge, Verizon has never
Were you
done
general counsel when you required all your employees to go to classes based on to teach them about critical race theory, including, quote, systemic racism, white fragility, and intersectionality?
that. Senator, that has never happened.
Yes, I did. You're under oath, counsel. All right, so you got this subpoena from Jack Smith for senators' records. Did you know who Jack Smith was?
I am aware of who Jack Smith was,
Yeah,
Senator.
you knew at the time that Jack Smith worked for President Biden, and the Attorney General, President Biden's appointee, hired Jack Smith to prosecute a former President of the United States, a former opponent of President Biden, and a current opponent of President Biden, and everybody associated with him. You were aware of that?
Senator, I'm aware of the nature of Mr. Smith's investigation.
Yeah, I thought you would be. And you get this order along with the names that the federal government wants you to divulge that says the people on this list we think might destroy evidence or tamper with witnesses. And it was signed by Judge Boasberg. Is that right?
We did receive a non-disclosure order.
Yeah.
signed
Did you
by
know who Judge Boasberg was?
Senator, I was not involved in reviewing that non-disclosure
Oh,
order,
you did.
but I am
General counsel?
I am aware of who
This
Judge
was just
Boasberg
a
is.
frivolous thing to you? Were you aware that Judge Boasberg hates Republicans like the devil hates holy water?
Senator, I do not know Judge Boasberg,
Yeah.
and I'm not aware
Boasberg.
of who he hates.
Okay. Did you look up the names of the people being subpoenaed, whose records were subpoenaed?
In responding to the subpoena, Senator, we produced the subscriber names.
Did you look up the names to see who they were?
Personally, no.
Just give me one more minute, Madam Chair. So let me get this straight. You get a subpoena from Jack Smith, who's been on the front page of every paper, with an order signed by Judge Boasberg saying these guys might destroy records, and you didn't look up the names. Is that your testimony?
Senator, when our analysts responded to the subpoena,
Is that your testimony?
Yeah.
Don't stall me.
No, I'm trying to answer your question, Senator.
No, you're not. You're trying to stall me. You know I'm out of time.
Senator, when our analysts responded to the subpoena, part of that response would have included the subscriber names associated with the accounts.
Give me one more minute, Madam Chair, please.
Without
I
objection.
beg you. Did your board of directors know you guys were doing all this? You got, on your board of directors, you got representatives from Starbucks, Coca-Cola, UPS, Longhorn Steakhouse, Olive Garden. Did they know you guys were doing all this?
Senator, can you help me understand what you mean by all of this?
You broke the law
No, Senator.
for
Verizon did not break the
negligence.
law.
It's called malpractice. You just turned over the records. Did you appeal the order?
No, Senator. We did
Did
not.
you call the senators?
No, Senator.
Did you file a motion to quash?
No, Senator. We followed
You
our-
just accepted, you just took the information that Jack Smith and Judge Boasberg gave you and sucked it up like a Hoover Deluxe, didn't you?
Senator, we followed the law and
No, you didn't.
produced the records.
Counselor, you ought to hide your head in a bag. And this isn't over. And all the rest of you should too.
Now, let me tell you straight up, watching this exchange, you can feel the frustration. You got a senator asking direct, pointed questions, and what do we get in response? Evasion, deflection, and the kind of carefully worded corporate answers that sound polished but don't actually say much. Right from the start, the senator questions why the CEO wasn't present. And that matters, because when a company is under scrutiny for potentially serious actions involving Americans' private data, the person at the top should be there answering questions. Instead, we get a legal representative. That alone tells you something about how seriously these corporations take accountability. Then it gets more intense. The senator brings up past issues, millions of dollars in fines and settlements. We're talking about overcharging taxpayers, mishandling customer data, even allegations tied to employee treatment. And what stands out is the pattern. This isn't a one-off mistake. This is repeated behavior that raises real concerns about trust. And here's where it hits home. When a corporation has already been fined tens of millions for sharing customer location data, as mentioned in the hearing, and then we see them involved in turning over information tied to a politically sensitive investigation, people are right to ask questions. Not conspiracy theories, questions. Because let's be honest, if the government can pressure or compel companies to hand over information, and those companies just comply without resistance, without even challenging it in court, that should concern every single American, regardless of political affiliation. The senator points out that the company didn't appeal the order, didn't notify the individuals involved, didn't even push back. They just complied. And that's the key issue here. It's not just about whether something is technically legal. It's about whether it's right, whether it respects the spirit of the Constitution, and whether it protects citizens from potential abuse of power. And then there's the political angle. The questioning raises concerns about who issued the subpoena and under what context. When government officials who are politically connected are involved in investigations tied to opponents, that creates a perception problem at the very least. And perception matters in a democracy. Now, as someone who believes in limited government and individual liberty, this is exactly the kind of situation that raises red flags. The government should not have unchecked power to access private data, and corporations should not act as passive tools in that process. There should be resistance. There should be safeguards. There should be accountability. Instead, what we saw here was a company that, according to the senator, simply handed over the information without a fight. And when pressed on it, the answers were vague at best. Another moment that really stood out was when the senator asked whether the company even reviewed the names tied to the subpoena. And the answer? No. Think about that. Sensitive data tied to a major investigation, and no one even takes the time to look at who is being affected. That's not just negligence. That's a complete lack of responsibility. This is what happens when institutions get too comfortable, when they assume no one will hold them accountable, when they believe they can operate above scrutiny. And that's why hearings like this matter. Because even if the answers aren't perfect, even if the witnesses try to dodge, the questions are being asked in the open. The American people get to see it. And that transparency is critical. But let me be clear. This isn't just about one company or one hearing. This is about a broader pattern we're seeing where government power and corporate influence start to overlap in ways that should make everyone uneasy. You've got tech companies, telecom giants, financial institutions, all holding massive amounts of personal data. And when the government comes knocking, the question is, who's protecting the people? Because if the answer is no one, then we've got a serious problem. At the end of the day, what we saw in this hearing was a reminder that power needs to be checked. Whether it's government power or corporate power, there must be accountability. There must be transparency. And there must be consequences when lines are crossed. That's what Freedom Forge is all about, cutting through the noise and getting to the truth. If you found this breakdown informative, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned because we're going to keep bringing you the facts that others won't. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you believe these companies are doing enough to protect your privacy? Or are they too quick to comply with government demands?